Hello everybody, welcome back to another legendary location guide here on Borderlands 3. Today I am back and this is going to be a legendaries galore at the start. As you can see, I'm going to be showing you guys how to get the legendary Destructo Spinner. It has already dropped, I believe, on screen right now, but we're going to be farming the power troopers for this. They are located in Atlas HQ. They are the rare mini spawn bosses for this area. They will appear every single time. If you run into the map, head to the left hand side, jump up to this area, just before you go into the Atlas HQ, they will spawn for you, and they have a chance to drop many items. As you can see, there is loads of them as well, so the chance of dropping something is really high. But once you've taken them out a few times, hopefully you can get yourself a Destructo Spinner, which is a mental little thing. As you can see right now on screen, it just fires swirly elemental projectiles out everywhere. So this is what the weapon looks like. You can see right here, it's a legendary SMG. It has two elements on it, mine are shock and corrosive. The red text says, I've been hired for destruction. And it can switch between shock and incendiary on the weapon card, as you can see. But I can tell you, this thing comes in all elements. Non-elemental is not a spawn for this, so you will either get this of two of the following: corrosive, cryo, incendiary, radiation, or shock. I personally think this is probably the best one you can get, shock and incendiary, because it will strip shields and kill human enemies really well. Shock and corrosive could be quite good against bots and armoured enemies, etc. But yeah, I definitely think that I couldn't have got this any better for a first time drop. So yeah, mine's going to be fire and shock, and we're going to be taking this to the anvil to do some killing just before the Sky Bullies area, and eventually take out on one of the Sky Bullies as well. So you can see, you probably need a really good computer for this, or obviously on console it should still work pretty well, because the amount of actual just elements on screen is huge. This will really test the performance of a PC, so it's quite lucky that I've just upgraded mine. But yeah, so the way this weapon works, it will fire both elemental types simultaneously. The projectiles will travel in a corkscrew motion. The projectiles of different element types corkscrew in opposite directions, so one will go clockwise, one will go anti-clockwise. But if you strafe around the screen or just flick your crosshairs around a couple of bits, they'll obviously cross over each other a little bit and mix in between. Really large enemies will be devastated by this weapon, because all of the beams will corkscrew into them at once, which is pretty good. This makes it quite difficult for long range, I think, like really long range. Because enemies might move around a lot, and you have to be pretty precise with this. The trouble is, you've got to be quite close to the enemy, I think, to see them actually moving. At long range, you could start shooting this thing, and because you can't see a thing in front of you while the corkscrewing projectiles are going off, the guy could completely have moved, and you probably wouldn't even notice until you stop firing. So make sure, if you are shooting this at really long range, have a little break in between shots just to check that the guy is still there, which I've not. I've noticed a couple of times. I've been firing a whole clip into what I thought was an enemy, and he was like about 10 feet to the left of where I was shooting, looking at me like, what an idiot. So yeah, make sure you do that. The alternative fire modes will determine the splash damage type. So you can see at the bottom right now, I have shock on. That will determine the shock splash damage. If I switch it, it will be the incendiary splash damage as well. So yeah, this is a really mental weapon, and a lot of fun to try out. Probably not the most powerful SMG you can get, or the most precise. But it's fast firing, it's elements galore, and it really can do a decent amount of damage on enemies. A little bit of trivia for you guys right now. The name and flavour text, which is, again, I've been hired for destruction, are a reference to the song Destructo Spin by the rock band Between the Buried and Me. So that is where that comes from there. Obviously every weapon in Borderlands has a little story behind it, whether it's the name, the flavour text, or what it does, and that is what that is right there. Anyway guys, that was the mental SMG called the Destructo Spinner. A lot of fun, really recommend you give this one a try, and hopefully you get a good elements on it as well. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Really hope you enjoyed. Check out the link in the description for the playlist for the rest of the legendary location guides, and I will see you guys in the next one.